Okay, so who makes stablecoins? There are two primary companies behind stablecoins. One is Tether, Tether, and Tether makes a stablecoin called USDT. That's similar to USD, which is US dollars, except they add a lowercase t on the end of it. So therefore, it's an uppercase USD and then a lowercase t. So that is US dollars tethered. And they use the name Tether because they're sort of tethered to the value of the US dollar. I won't go into exactly how those work, other than the companies that make stablecoins actually are insanely profitable, because what they actually do is they're not actually backed by US dollars, they're backed by US government treasury bonds. And so, which they use short-term treasury bonds so they can always remain liquid. But what that means is the USDT, the stablecoin, trades at a dollar per dollar, but it's actually stored in something that generates interest for the issuer. You do not get interest, but they get interest. And so if you have a balance of USDT in your account that is backed by US government bonds, US government debt, which also backs the US dollar, and then they get the interest rate. Usually they get the interest rate, you do not, which means companies like Tether have made billions and billions and billions of dollars of profit having a stablecoin that is supposed to be backed by US dollars, but is actually backed by US government debt, which pays an interest rate. And then they collect that interest rate themselves, and they use it to support their stablecoin. So it's a big deal that Tether is bringing their USDT stablecoin, which is by far the biggest of the two. The USDT stablecoin is much larger, especially internationally, much larger than the USDC stablecoin issued by Coinbase and Circle. It's a big deal they're bringing it to the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It will be one more way that people are onboarded to cryptocurrency, and it will get them much closer to ultimately buying Bitcoin, which is the future of what everyone will ultimately use. If you're in a developing country and your local currency is collapsing, and all you know is the US dollar is better than your currency, and you are not up to speed on Bitcoin, I can see where you might bridge that gap with a stablecoin. Obviously, it's worse than Bitcoin, but it just, US dollars lose value slowly forever as Bitcoin obviously goes up in value over time, but that can be volatile on the way up. Does a stablecoin have the benefits of Bitcoin? No, it does not. First of all, it 100% loses value as fast as the US dollar. Also, just like the US government can freeze your funds if you use the US dollars, they can also freeze your funds if you use a stablecoin. So if you have money in USDT, the government can freeze that and can confiscate it just as easily, or even more easily, than they can take away your actual US dollars at a bank.